Channel 3 News is closed captioned for the hearing impaired.
You're watching WEAR 3, Pensacola, Mobile, Fort Walton Beach. And now, Channel 3 News at 10.
Good evening. A hearing tomorrow on why the prosecution cannot, at this late date, bring certain new evidence to bear in the Michael Griffin murder case will be closed to the media. Judge John Parnham made his ruling this evening after Griffin's attorney, Bob Kerrigan, argued forcefully against media lawyers for a closed hearing tomorrow in which the nature and merit of the new evidence will be discussed. Kerrigan claimed that releasing the information prematurely would require a change of venue for the trial and another continuance. Parnham agreed, saying to allow media coverage and therefore the release of the evidence would do, quote, a terrible injustice to the defendant's right to a fair trial, unquote. The Saturday court session begins at 4 p.m. The trial itself is still scheduled to start Monday morning with jury selection. A British clinic says it will begin providing the controversial RU-486 abortion pill to American women. The clinic says it has an agreement with the government that will allow it to get around a ban on non-resident use of the pill. But a government spokesman says the ban is in force.
What's your name?
This is the Marie Stopes Clinic in London. If a woman is less than 9 weeks pregnant, she can come here, take the RU-486 pill, and abort her fetus. No surgery involved. Now that clinic will let American women take the pill too, if they can afford the plane fare, stay there for 2 weeks, and pay a $500 fee. American abortion rights groups say that's a good step forward, but they still want the abortion pill here in the United States.
We as American women are being held hostage to a small radical minority that is keeping RU-486 out of this country by their threats.
Groups against abortion say making the pill available to Americans willing to visit England is a terrible idea. They are fighting all abortion, and they say this will simply be an easier method for the rich.
Well, it's appalling that women would go to Great Britain, pay 4 times or 5 times as much for an abortion, and use a dangerous drug like RU-486 to obtain that abortion.
There can be some complications after using RU-486. Since it causes a miscarriage, there can be excessive bleeding and pain. Abortion rights groups say those side effects are rare, and you can only use the drugs in the first few weeks of pregnancy. Great Britain doesn't let its clinics offer RU-486 to non-resident women, but the Marie Stopes Clinic is getting around that law by inviting women in for just 2 weeks. That's considered a holiday and escapes the rule. U.S. abortion rights groups say very few women will take advantage of the offer, and they're pushing to get the pill here to the United States instead. Andy Field for ABC News, Washington.
A high-profile murder conviction of a Fort Walton Beach teenager is being appealed. 18-year-old Wendy Hollins was found guilty last October on charges of second-degree murder and child abuse. Investigators say Hollins killed her newborn daughter shortly after giving birth in the bathroom of her Robinwood Drive home. Hollins' lawyer, Angela Jacobs, is appealing the conviction on 2 points. She says Hollins should have received house arrest on probation, not prison time. And Jacobs claims a motion for a new trial should have been delayed so she would have time to review trial transcripts. A Florida casino gambling organization plans to unveil details of its proposed gambling amendment on Monday. The group, called the Proposition for Limited Casinos, backed construction of a huge casino in Miami and is now expected to release 8 possible future casino construction sites. Pensacola may be on the list along with Broward County, West Palm Beach, Fort Myers, Tampa, Orlando, and Jacksonville. Casino gambling was defeated in a 1986 referendum. In order for it to be on this year's ballot, 430,000 signatures are needed. Next up, base closings may be slowed down nationwide. We'll tell you why. And the debate over harvesting live rock is heating up. Stay with us.
You're watching Channel 3 News at 10 with Lance Sanstead, Katie Horner with weather, Dan Shugart with sports.
4 Northwest Florida men are hoping for leniency on charges they took hundreds of pounds of live rock illegally from Gulf waters. Live rock is now the focus of an environmental debate. It's in demand for saltwater aquariums, but it cannot be harvested in state waters. Some Northwest Florida residents are pushing federal agencies for a similar ban in federal waters. A Destin aquarium shop owner arrested on charges of taking the reef-like substance says the practice is not destroying vital fish habitats as opponents claim it is.
And lots of times we're actually pulling up loose bottom that would be normally covered by sand and uncovering it. So we're not really destroying reefs like they say, or mining them and taking them away. Most of the reefs are very, very large structures, and we're taking a very minimum amount of just the loose rubble that lays around.
Smith's one of 4 local men charged with live rock violations by the Florida Marine Patrol. The 4 defendants are set to go to court on March 16th. Well, a stroke of a pen by President Clinton may bring new life to military bases around the nation, including Nadep, Pensacola. President Clinton and Congress took $500 million out of base closure committee money and put it in for earthquake assistance in Southern California. The 1994 Congress had appropriated $1.1 billion to shut down military installations, but the new bill, signed by the president, cuts that base closure money in half. That's over $500 million just gone. Florida Congressman Bill McCollum says no one knows for sure the impact this will have on the base closings, but sources in Washington are saying the cuts will slow down and complicate base closures everywhere. Well, as of April 1st, the search and rescue squadron at NAS Pensacola will be no longer. Today at the Museum of Naval Aviation, Helicopter Combat Support Squadron 16, or HC-16, was disestablished. The closing down of the 20-year-old squadron is due to military cutbacks. The personnel known as bullfrogs will be given new duty assignments. Over the years, HC-16 has saved nearly 400 military and civilian lives. Its search and rescue function will now be turned over to other existing squadrons at NAS Pensacola. Next up, a bill may be passed in the legislature that would let farmers know about pesticides they may have been exposed to. And officials for the EPA try to get the Agrico chemical company to clean up its act. Well, beneath the old Agrico Chemical Company site just off Interstate 10 at Fairfield is a plume of fluoride in the groundwater. The question is now how to deal with it. Agrico is an EPA Superfund site, meaning it's on a priorities list for cleanup. EPA representatives met with residents tonight to present cleanup options for the site. The EPA has already looked at the options and favors one in particular.
Is to go into a long-term monitoring program where we monitor the plume from the site. And basically, we're looking at fluoride as the main contaminant of concern. We feel that it's important to monitor this plume as opposed to going in and putting in an extensive extraction system that might interfere.
The next step is to get more input from the public and then come up with some kind of viable plan to take care of the problem. Florida farmers may soon be able to find out what pesticides they've been exposed to. If Florida legislators approve a farmer's right to know bill, employers will be required to provide pesticide information to farmers and their doctors. Now, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency makes farmers train in pesticides, but the EPA hasn't yet had to warn farmers about what pesticides are being used. The proposed Florida law will go into effect July the 1st. And the Pensacola chapter of the American Red Cross is requesting financial contributions to help 51 Oakwood Terrace apartment fire victims. The victims were evacuated from their homes on Tuesday after an early morning fire destroyed their apartments. If you would like to help the Oakwood Terrace fire victims, send your financial contributions to the Pensacola chapter of the American Red Cross, Oakwood Terrace Fire Fund, 1741 North Palafox Street, Pensacola 32501, or call 432-7601. Well, with us now is Katie, who was right on the button today. It was great yesterday. Another nice day today.
Another nice day today. And if you missed it, if you had to work or go to school today, it's going to be like this again tomorrow.
Super.
Super. Here's a look at what's happening right now. We do have partly cloudy skies, and we will continue to have partly cloudy skies tomorrow. Winds right now out of the northeast at 8 miles per hour. The current temperature is 63 degrees. Our high today was 75 in Pensacola. The dew point's 53 degrees tonight, and the humidity is 78%. Pressure's rising at 30.18. In your marine forecast for tomorrow, seas will be 3 to 5 feet with east to southeast winds at 15 knots. Protected waters will be choppy. Low tides are in the morning. Pensacola's at 4:23 tomorrow. Alabama Point at 4:08. Destin at 5:43. High tide at 5:40 for Pensacola. And the high tide for Alabama Point at 4:25 and Destin at 5:13. Stay with us. We'll have a look at your weekend outlook when Channel 3 News continues. Sunshine today mixed with clouds. The clouds came at us though from the east, from this storm system that's developing off the Florida coast, moving up the Atlantic. Strong east winds bringing rain showers now to southern Florida. To the west of us though, we at the same time have another storm system headed towards us. So the clear skies that we had this morning and the partly cloudy skies we have this evening are not going to last long. We are going to have mostly cloudy skies moving in here by tomorrow night and a good chance of rain as this storm system moves closer to us. Now, right now along this front, it's just light rain, but as it taps into the moisture coming out of the Gulf, there's a possibility that we could find a few embedded thunderstorms within this thing as it gets closer to us, and that's probably going to happen by the beginning of next week. It will also bring our temperatures down a little bit, but until then, our high temperatures are going to be about 10 to 15 degrees above the normal, and we're going to see the humidity increasing as this front approaches, and by Saturday evening, when that front is almost on top of us, we're going to see the fog developing once again. Now, tonight's low temperatures will be quite mild, probably in the upper 40s, mid 50s in many locations, but your highs tomorrow will make it back into the mid 70s with partly cloudy skies, not increasing until later tomorrow night. Sunday, though, looks like a pretty cloudy day, but still rather warm. Here's your forecast again for you tonight. Partly cloudy and mild, low temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, east winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Perhaps the only places seeing temperatures tonight in the upper 40s will be inland areas as Atmore and Bruton, perhaps even Crestview. For Saturday, sunshine in the morning, partly cloudy skies in the afternoon, the high near 74, cloudy skies tomorrow night with a low of 60 degrees, east to perhaps southeast winds tomorrow at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Cloudy on Sunday with just a slight chance of rain. The rain chance Sunday is 20%, the high temperature near 75. Chance of rain on Monday and Tuesday. On Tuesday, we'll begin to see the temperatures dropping, but not too bad. A high of 67 on Tuesday, 65 on Wednesday with mostly cloudy skies expected. The low temperatures mild up until Monday, and then Tuesday night turning a little cooler with lows down around 52, but that's just bringing us back to normal. So it won't be bad. We're going to get spoiled over the next few days, and then the temperatures will drop a little bit.
I like getting spoiled. I love it. Oh, no. Get used to that. Thanks, Katie. Just ahead, the FDA releases new standards on the testing of mammograms. More when we return. In 4 days, new federal regulations on mammograms go into effect. The law requires that mammography clinics meet federal standards to operate. As ABC's Lisa Stark reports, this is the first attempt to ensure that mammograms are done properly.
This year, more than 40,000 women in the United States will die of breast cancer. 23 million will have mammograms in the hopes of catching any cancer early. For the first time, centers that offer mammograms will have to meet national standards and have an FDA stamp of approval to operate.
We want to improve all mammography, screening and diagnostic. That's the goal.
There are some 10,000 mammography centers in the United States. 60% of them had voluntarily been accredited by the American College of Radiology. They will likely meet the new federal standards. But until now, there were few guarantees that the other centers performed quality work. A primetime live investigation uncovered clinics with poorly trained technologists, bad equipment, and cancers that were missed.
When I went to the doctor and had the mammograms done, I thought I was protecting myself. And I had no way of knowing that there was something wrong with it.
Brenda Roberts was told twice that her mammograms were clean. In fact, she had breast cancer. The chief of radiology at a Washington, D.C. hospital says such horror stories may disappear under the new federal guidelines.
It will make it a lot harder for substandard departments to operate, but that's what we want.
The new regulations go into effect in 5 days. By October, clinics must be accredited, the equipment in good shape, those taking the x-rays, and those reading them properly trained.
These standards, we believe, are the starting point. We may need to enhance them down the road.
A federal advisory committee on mammography standards had its first meeting today as the government gets ready to implement the new law, a law that many hope will give women a clearer picture of their cancer risk. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
Now here are tonight's winning Florida lottery numbers in Cash 3. First of all, 546. That's 546 in Cash 3. In the Play 4 game, it's 3260. 3260. And in Fantasy 5 tonight, 1, 2, 8, 18, and 21. 1, 2, 8, 18, and 21. Next up, district playoffs of boys basketball, and we'll hear from Roy Firestone at the All Sports Banquet in Fort Walton Beach. Okay, Rick says he's full of it tonight, so go, bud.
Loaded. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Well, as Van Gogh would say, what a night in Fort Walton Beach tonight. The Northwest Florida All Sports Awards featuring this cat, Roy Firestone of ESPN1. You name it, they wear it. Tasty Duds and Firestone tonight. As the banquet celebrated with the big-time coaches for big-time charities. Even the champ was award side. Second honor for Roy Jones in as many weeks. Pro Athlete of the Year. Many others were honored. More on that in just a moment. But first, our fearless leader Dan Shugart caught up to Firestone for the intriguing question. No more Keith Jackson covering Alabama on ABC.
Which means Keith Jackson won't be doing an Alabama game anymore, and maybe you're in line for that. What do you
Well, you never know, because I tell you, Alabama, when you get the Crimson Tide and Gene Stallings and, oh boy, I've got a red barn brother for you. Fumble! You know, like that, right.
Nice touch. Join Dandy Dan for a special Sunday Night Sports Extra this weekend featuring all the Roy Firestone impressions you could ever want. Even Elvis. And speaking of the king, how about the other people who were honored tonight? The kings and queens of the moment.
Respect as a human being is much more important than respect as a boxer, because as a boxer, you're gonna get some respect, and if you start knocking people out, then you're gonna get a lot of respect. So I've been doing that for a while now. It's just getting respect as a human being means that you stayed that basically the person that you were, that you didn't change and you didn't get the big head and you didn't grow up and just turn your back on everybody. You know, people really respect you for the things you do.
I myself was surprised when I found out, but I didn't even know I was even up for consideration or anything of the sort.
Well, it means a lot. You know, it's a special award. You look at over the past of the people that's won it. You know, Emmitt Smith, who to me is my idol. I think he's the best player to ever come out of this area, and it was doubly special that one over Derrick Brooks and Kevin Knox, because I think those guys are great players on a great team, and I'm just proud that the people in Northwest Florida recognize the type of individual effort I put out.
I didn't know what a big deal it was, actually. It means a lot. I'm so excited, and it feels good to know that everything I've worked for isn't for nothing.
Kim's a heck of a water skier. On to the Olympics now. What a day for the Buffalo Bills of speed skating. Dan Jansen did it all but win the gold in the Olympics until now. In the event he's not usually pretty good at, or whatever good at, and Jansen does it in grand style. Last chance in the game, setting the world record in the men's 1,000 meters for the gold.
A little bit more relieved at the moment. I can't quite believe that it happened yet. It's so amazing.
Meanwhile, the latest episode of Skategate. Tanya Harding is struggling in practice for Wednesday's showcase. Harding fell several times and is nursing a bad ankle and a bad case of the media.
You failed 2 or 3 polygraph tests. Why should we believe anything you say about that you were innocent in the Nancy Kerrigan incident?
I think we're here to talk about Tanya's skating.
Well, that's sort of a naive approach.
I agree with my coach.
To Daytona in the Florida 200, the Dash Series cars featuring Pensacola's own Paul Carr, a Five Flags product at this very first Daytona 500. Yes, he started the race 5th, dropped to 7th, was in the middle of a car wreck, yet survived it, got as close as 3rd, but fell back to 22nd when he blew a piston. Here's Carr out of the car.
We ran good here for the first time, being the first time we've been here and everything. We did a good job, and the whole team did a good job. Rabbit did a tremendous job hanging the bodies. Dick did a real good job with the motors, and we're just going to come here next year and see if we can conquer this thing.
2 OWCC in District 5A play, Fort Walton Beach and Tate. Vikings get 21 out of the reigning athlete of the week, Jeff Brower, in the first half. Woo! What a game, but not enough. The tail of the Tate, 49-46, Tyrone Griffin. The game winner down the stretch, Bill Fryman's bunch, takes top cheese.
Jeff Brower only missed 1 shot the first period. My record, I think he had 16 out of the 18 points. I told my guys he can't shoot any better. He's got to miss some if we can wear him down a little bit. And I thought we'd start getting a few fast breaks, and we did.
In the nightcap, Pensacola High squeaks by Niceville 62-59. Marcus Washington 19 and the game winner in that one. Let's go to Milton and the 4A play. Rodeau area. Yes, Castone the high man for the Gators. But Woodham tough down the stretch. George Barge the hoop and a foul. 46-39 the final. Woodham moves on. In the nightcap, Milton in the Pine Forest. Give it to the big man, Brad Grant. A lot of people checking him out tonight, including PJC. Eagles keep it tight. Tamarillo Smith. But not enough. Milton beats Pine Forest for the third time of the year, 67-53 the final there. Quincy Shanks, a winner in District 1 3A. Crestview loses 24-3. They're done thanks to Walton right there. Century hits the century mark. James Smith 35, Eddie Lucky with 30. Let's go to Pensacola Christian. Tennessee Temple on the table. Big night for Peter Rasmussen. 15 points. Steve Parmalee had a game-high 17, that is. PCC rolls 95-88, the final there. That's sports. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Rick. We'll be right back. And finally tonight, this is our final broadcast from this studio in this facility where we've brought you the news and a lot of other things for the past 40 years. And because we're moving over the weekend to our new facility, the weekend newscasts here on Channel 3 will be brief ones. But starting 6 a.m. Monday morning, we'll be up and running from our new home where we'll be able to serve you better than ever. So we'll see you Monday with a fresh new look from a state-of-the-art broadcasting facility. See you over the weekend.